this time is all about consumer brands and what they're doing, how they're hitting, how they're missing. I'm curious about this next one, the Starbucks like bear, because earlier you mentioned people boycotting them, and it seems like with the bear, the people are back. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would love to hear what we're talking about here.
Yeah. So, in addition to the holiday cups that Starbucks drops every year, they dropped these special Starbucks little bear cups that came with a cup, like a lid, came with a straw. And then they would give like maybe one or two to each store. And there were people camping out. Some people were camped out from like closed to open in order to make sure they were first in line so that they'd be able to do that. First off, they made it this big like scarcity play. And so everyone got excited, wanted to do it. You have the usual suspects of like the Starbucks people who will literally do anything for whatever Starbucks has left. Then you also have the people who are basically resellers who will buy it just so they can put it on eBay for like $200 or $300. But what was happening is that sometimes some stores weren't getting any. Some situations where the staff was actually clocking in were buying the bears themselves. And then when people would come in, they would be like, we've already sold out. There are videos of people actually like recording the inside of the store, and they can see the people come into the store because they work there, taking the bears off the shelf, putting it in the back, and then buying it, and then letting them in to tell them like it's already sold out. And be like, what do you mean it's already sold out? I'm the first person here. No one else has been in the building. And so it's just this whole thing. I think that in the same way, we need to have conversations about how brands are being thoughtful about how they're handling the holidays. I think we also need to talk about the customer side and how they need to act like they have any sense, because there's a lot of conversations now about consumerism. It's like, what
Mhm.
do you mean you waited 12 hours for a bear that will be on Temu in like 2 weeks? Like, what do you mean you're cussing out people over something that you could buy on Etsy?
Mhm.
Like, what are we doing? And so I think that this is the other side of that coin, which is we need to have a conversation about consumerism and how things have just gotten ridiculous between Labubus, and now we have these bear cups. Not to be the person in the room saying like there are children starving, there are bigger problems in the world, but there are children starving and there are bigger problems in the world. And so like just as I would argue that brands need to be able to read the room, I need consumers to do the same. Like, what are we doing? I feel like we've lost the plot.
Yeah, this one is wild to me because yes, I understand about like the consumer and the waiting, but also 1 to 2 bears per store to create the artificial scarcity
Yes.
for this. When Starbucks has previously had drops like this, I think it was the Target Stanley Starbucks collab or
Yes.
whatever, where
The
like
fights.
yeah, and it was
Yeah.
like, and that was more product than what they're doing here.
Yeah.
So like they kind of knew what they were doing, which is
They
like
absolutely
very,
did. Yeah.
very
Well, I mean,
annoying.
it's consumer psychology as you
Mhm.
have this like scarcity, but like times 10.
Yeah.
And so they're playing with consumer psychology. They know they have a very feral fan base that's going to
Mhm.
go, that is willing to wait and going to create content about them waiting. And then if you read the apology, it's kind of like a non apology. It's kind
Yeah.
of like, oops, sorry that didn't go right. Sorry you were mad. But there is no like resolution. There is no like, we're going to make more, or
So they're
we're going to
not.
have
I mean, I mean,
I'm sure they're gonna. I'm
I mean,
sure
they
it's
kind
gonna
of
be
have
like
to, right?
they're gonna do drops, but
Yeah.
it's kind of the thing of it's
But they've now
there's a
ruined the
lack of
trust,
preparation.
you know? I mean, if they
Yeah.
had started it from the beginning saying, "Hey, we're rolling out limited edition 1 to 2 per store," and then we'll have secondary, tertiary like drops, so
Yeah.
you don't have to like freak out. But the initial ones obviously are going to be a little bit more special because they're the first ones. Those are for the really
Mhm.
hardcore like fans. Obviously, fix the internal situation of like your
Yeah.
own employees buying them. But
Which
then
but honestly, that's on Starbucks too, because they should have made a rule to
right?
basically
Oh no,
like
totally, totally.
it should be like I can't be mad at the employees
Yeah.
unless there was a rule saying they couldn't buy them, because
No,
honestly,
totally.
like they kind of deserve the bears after dealing with Karens all day.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, that definitely shouldn't be.
Respectfully, they
No, no,
kind of
no,
earned them. I'm kind of
for
on their
sure.
side unless there was a rule. Yeah.
No, 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 of course, like, if there's nothing saying that they can't do that, then obviously, they're able to do that. I think this is all, like, on Starbucks and, like, the decision that they made to limit the number of the bears that they were gonna put out in order to kind of create that rabidness within their fan base. That's just not the way to like go about doing this. They should have like sorted that out, or at least be open and transparent about when more were going to be created.
Yes.
Because at this point, like, it's going to seem like a cash grab, which it will be.
Well, I think there's also two levers here that we also have to remember is that there is the mechanic that we have kind of engendered people to the belief that if you get access to something, you can actually make a profit by reselling it to someone else at exorbitant things. So we see this with concert tickets. We see this with any kind of experiential. We see this with swag. We see this with merch. We see this with all of these things. So you have that lever. Then you have the secondary lever of people getting into things purely so they can create content about it.
Yeah.
So, like, there are a lot of people who are not only saying, like, not only am I mad because I didn't get this, but I have to create content out of something. So I was going to make content about this bear and make it sound like I won the golden ticket. But since I don't have the golden ticket, I still need to make content. So let's make content about me being angry because I didn't get the golden ticket. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, like, we have these, like, two opposing levers where we have people doing things, and what it's doing is it's actually removing the opportunity for people who are real fans. So, like, great
Mhm.
case in point is I'm a massive Radiohead fan. I did not get tickets. And I'm seeing the videos of these people in at the show in Madrid, and one of the TikToks is showing a girl who was basically like complaining because she was on her phone the whole time, and she only like she videotaped this like 2 songs that she knew so she could post it on TikTok, and that was it. And I was like, how many real fans would have like given a kidney, myself included, to go to that show but couldn't because someone was there and they wanted to make content? Same thing with Oasis. I love
Mm,
Oasis, but I really wanted to see Richard Ashcroft because I'm a Verve fan.
mhm.
Well, there was a girl, this went viral. She Shazammed Bittersweet Symphony. And I was like, what do you mean I couldn't get tickets to the show, but this girl does not know who Bittersweet Symphony is? Like,
Mhm.
what do you mean? But she
Yeah.
was there for content. Like, we have people who are going to things and taking those spots away from people who are willing to pay, who would want to go, who would mean the world to them. But you know what? You looked cute in a concert and you wanted it to be online. And because of that, you took that opportunity from other people. And so the problem with consumerism is that we have to take accountability for the kind of like these machines that we've created, where
Mhm.
you can either everything is to turn into content or turn it into a profit. And because of that, there are people lacking who it genuinely would mean the world to them, and they don't even have the opportunity because those other machines are bigger than them.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting thing, right? People aren't really valuing the work and like the effort that like goes into them, and are just kind of, complaining about stuff. We're even seeing it in like the tech world. We were talking about this last week with Moshe about the Neo like robot,
Mhm. Yep.
where to some extent, like, yes, only certain people are going to be able to afford it. But on the flip side, at least there are companies that are wanting to fix chores and then eventually home health care. Sometimes when we complain too loudly about the robot costing $20,000, or, not being where it needs to be like now, I fear we're gonna like hinder like progress in
Mhm.
those realms, and instead just start creating military robots because they want it and like won't like be complaining. We need to have both optimists that like the world can get better and fix things for people, but then also like speak out against like a $30 like glass cup. It seems like the same energy goes into both. I mean, the huge thing right that happened this week with the Pope saying that like AI needs to have moralization, that we should be thinking about how it's going to affect the world and humans and jobs. And, Mark Andreessen kind of like quote tweeted it and just like made fun of it. Right. And it's
Yep.
just like those are the people that are like putting money towards companies that are going to affect the future. But he took it down. So there was enough backlash from people to say like, why are you trying to rag on the Pope? For like, one of the things that like I read was that he chose the name Pope Leo because the last Pope Leo took us through industrialization, right? And it's like bringing somebody who is not only American and can
Mhm.
speak to the American like populace and like VCs included, but then
Yeah.
also speak to like the science, because he was an educated man that like got his
Mhm.
like, graduate degree as well. And so like he knows that that's like what's facing the rest of us, the future, going forward. And I think that like those are conversations that need to be had
Yeah.
amongst all of us.
Uh-huh.
And like, let's put more energy towards that and not just, buying stuff that comes out because it's cute.
Completely agree. Here, here. Completely agree.